Hey, what's up? I'm Fritz Bacon, and I'm a filmmaker and creative director based out of New York City. And for the past week, Adorama has let me use the GH6 and the Leica DG Summilux 9mm to test and give you my opinion. So I decided to take it to Ireland and the Black Hills of South Dakota to really put it through the ringer and tell you all about it. So let's get into that. So this is definitely one of my new favorite camera setups. That 9mm focal length out of the box is pretty stable, but when you pair it with the GH6's in-body stabilization, you get something really cool. And what was really fun about this is I did not have to bring any sort of external stabilization kits, no rigs, so I was pretty much just traveling with this in both Ireland and South Dakota. What I love about this setup is how lightweight it is. Not only does that aid in the stabilization of it, as you can carry this around without getting too fatigued, but it also makes it a really compact system and it sort of decreases your footprint. This is especially important when you're traveling around and you don't want to draw unnecessary attention with a big camera rig, and it's also extremely important when you're packing. I was going between New York, South Dakota, and Ireland all within about a week, and I did not want to check bags. I didn't want to lose bags and lose time, so I went with the old method of one small bag underneath my feet, one bag overhead, and this combo really made that easy on me. One piece of gear that you will want to have with this setup is a variable ND filter. These are super easy to find, and it just allows you to shoot during harsh light during the day without having to, adjust your aperture or frame rate. You can really keep those the way you want to. Another feature about this lens that I love is how rugged it is. It's dust and water resistant, which the dust was not a huge issue for me on these trips, but when I was in Ireland, we were on the cliffs of Moher and it was extremely windy and it was pouring rain, so we were getting hit from every direction. There was no real way to keep the gear from getting wet, and this thing handled it like a champ. The only real issue we had was having to wipe down the lens every take or so. We didn't want to see the water droplets or anything, as when you're shooting with a really large aperture, you will see those since the lens is so wide. Since it is like a glass, it has to meet a certain standard, and that standard is extremely sharp. Not only is this lens extremely sharp, but you get some pretty great low light performance out of it since you're able to open the aperture up to 1.7. This really came in handy when I was out in South Dakota shooting a music video. Oftentimes we would run into the night and it would get pretty dark, but being able to open up to 1.7 gave us a ton of flexibility and we were able to get exactly what we needed while we were out there. Overall, this is a really fun video setup, one that I did not really expect to fall in love with, but I will always have this wherever I travel. And if you want to find out more about either the lens or the GH6, both the links are in the description of this video.